Alright, I'm just working on a few things around the shop area, and I do my yearly touch-up on the cabinets here. My intention is never to make them new, it's just to take care of some of the obvious things that stick out on it. Big gouges, or some heavy abrasions. I'm using the flat black, and also the cabinet here is actually more of a semi-gloss. But a lot of times if you feather it, actually can turn out pretty good. But one of the things here, there's a big abrasion right here. I think some stuff sort of moves around inside the cargo van when we're going to and from gigs. Alright, I think that'll be fine. So I'm not putting much paint on it, it's just enough just to cover that area. And I'll sort of try to feather it out a little bit. Alright, let's take a look. Honestly, right here at the edges, you can see that. And you can also probably tell, I have touched this up before. Now for me, I'm not too sure if I've mentioned this before, but having speaker cabinets torn up, beat up, and banged up, as I said, I think that works for some people, but it doesn't work for a lot of the shows that I do. There's just not a place for beat up stuff, especially for, let's say, corporate events, or if you're out at a nice place somewhere. So there's not much paint in the brush. It's just enough to cover those the abrasion. I think this one may be fine. We need to touch up the grill here, but that is going to be a later time. Alright, front looks pretty good on that one. It's had a lot of these abrasions and marks and stuff just occur, I would say, 90% of the time during transportation, loading and unloading. Alright, got a big gouge out of this one here. It is sort of deep on it, not too sure how that happened, but no doubt something probably slid into it when it was being transported. At this point, I am just going to paint it, and I think if it's any deeper than what it was, this is probably about maybe a couple of millimeters deep. If it was any deeper than that, I would get some wood filler and put it in there and sort of restructure it. But it's still small. It's not really detrimental to the structure of the cabinet. Alright, we'll just let that stuff dry. Alright, on to the next thing. Alright, what we're going to be doing is taking this voltage regulator out, and we're going to put it in something else. This is one of the outboard racks that we have for our analog system, but which we haven't been using too much of. So I'm going to take this one out. I've got another purpose for this. Now, I do have a few of these regulators in other racks, but those are being used quite often, a lot more than this one. That's why this one is going to come out and be repurposed. All right, this looks good. Get this put back. We need some room out here. We don't have much room to work in. For those of you that are wondering, that's why I've got plexiglass on the walls here. Plexiglass can take a lot bigger and harder hit than the regular sheetrock that's in here. So it's plexiglass all the way down both sides. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to be taking out this PDU. Now here's another voltage regulator. This is exactly like the one that I took out that other case. This voltage regulator is staying. Alright, so The PDU that I just took out, I really enjoy those. They're nice to have. Obviously, to have more outlets available to you in a rack, and you've got the lights that come with it as well. They're very convenient. However, it is a little extra weight, and it takes up a lot more room than what is actually needed. And for this rack, our stage box rack, there shouldn't be anything really plugged into this except for maybe a monitor console and maybe something else. Everything that's in here right now is already plugged into the voltage regulator, so that PDU was actually in the way. And I started out with this rack with a PDU, and then I said I need to put a voltage regulator in it for the stage box. So what I'm doing, I'm replacing the PDU with a one of these like light rack kind of things. Extremely lightweight. It doesn't take up any space at all. And actually the structure of it is almost like like one of these blanking panels. The steel on it is rather thick. It's pretty good. So I am going to add this to the rack. So I still want the lights, but I don't need this. I don't need the weight, and I don't need those other outlets on the back. And right now I'm just making some temporary room. Put the rack in. There we go. All right. It's more important that there be a voltage regulator in here than a PDU. But the voltage regulator is sort of a PDU anyway. All right, I know you probably can't see back up in there, but there is a, this is the power end that goes into the unit. All right, we're going to keep the power cord and adapter out of the way. And I'm sure it's hard for you to see what's going on in here. It's a little dark here for me as well. All right, let's get this powered on. Regulator on, let it go through its checks. Oh yes, not bad. In fact, this is probably better than the that PDU. I mean, how well it lights it up. Let's see, you can change the intensity of them. I'll do them both here. That's low. They've got a nice feature here of red. Okay, we got bright. Yeah, that's not bad. At least you can move it around if you had to. Light up other areas. Alright, and they're back on medium right now. And that's the good part about it, is that once you have it set, when you turn them on, they start where you had them set at. So this will work out a lot better. This will take some of the weight out of the cabinet. It'll give me more room in the back. Alright. I think this will work out real good. Alright. Alright, And the other PDU, I'm going to take this and put it on the shelf. I'm sure I'll have another use for a PDU somewhere. All right, let's work on something else. Alright, so what I have here, this is a 2U rack, and this rack is going to be used for when I go do, let's say, things in smaller venues, and if I just need like a voltage regulator, then this is what this is going to be. It's something I can use either in front of house, or if I need to, it's something I can use at the stage. And recently, I did an event where, going against my policy, I did not place the front of house console on a regulator. And there wasn't any problems, and most of the time, there's no problems. But it's that one time something happens, and you wish you had something to protect the gear. So that's what this is going to be. So this isn't going to be used in every show. It's just if the place is small, and I have no place to put my regular front of house rack, this is what's going to be used. And if you're wondering, yes, this is the regulator that I pulled out of the analog front of house rack. I don't know if you can tell or not, there is, in my opinion, a bit more movement with this voltage regulator in here. And I'm sure it'd probably be fine, you know, during transport. Nothing's going to happen, but what I do sometimes is I will place, this is a foam, it's part of a foam mat. I will stick this between the floor and the unit, and it provides some shock relief. It's almost like a shock foam. So we're just gonna add this to it. There we go, it's not gonna move anywhere. All right, for the lighting, just like on that other rack, I've got another one of these units. I tell you, with the light weight of this, I mean, this is like nothing. All right, and just like on that last, the last rack that I did, there shouldn't be really anything plugged into here except for maybe a front of house console and maybe one other thing. So we can get by with just having the voltage regulator act as our PDU. All right, we'll put the doors on. I think this is ready to go. I wanted to do something just to maybe show the differences of what some different components do. Up here is a regular PDU, and right here is a voltage regulator, and down here is a UPS. Now each one of these right now is all being powered independently off of the utility power here in the shop area. Okay, so the utility power here in the shop area is 124 volts. The top part here, this unit is just a PDU. Whatever the power is from the utility, when it enters here, it should come out at 100. It should come out exactly what it shows here. So this is all that a PDU does. I'm just going to pick one of the outlets on here. All right, and as you can tell, the PDU is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Power comes in, all it does is distribute the power, whatever the utility power is, across the other outlets. So basically, I mean, these things are great, but they're just sort of glorified power strips, but they do have the lights on them. I do love these things, but this is all they do. They're just a power strip. All right, so let's go over here to the voltage regulator. Now, if you remember, we've got 124 volts coming in. All right, the power is 125 volts coming in, but the voltage regulator, and this is all US power, is stepping it down to 120. This is exactly what a voltage regulator is supposed to do. It regulates the current, and this is why I use these. I have 3 of these that I use in different parts of the sound system, and especially with the digital consoles, digital stage box, anything that's computer related, this is why it's important to have something that is a constant voltage, 120 volts. A lot of times the problems with consoles that people talk about is when the power is actually doing this. The people don't know the power is doing that, but that can cause a lot of problem. I mean, higher voltage, low voltage, high voltage, maybe sometimes a peak in voltage, maybe a slight brownout that you don't see, but the computers can see it, and they sort of respond to that by acting funny. So, not saying that a voltage regulator was going to fix all your problems, but it can certainly rule out and manage a lot of electrical issues that may be causing problems. So this voltage regulator is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Let's take a look at the UPS. All right, so with the power at 120 volts, 124 volts, UPSs really only have one job to do. And that job is to maintain power during a brief power outage. So let's take a look at how much voltage that the UPS is currently putting out. So we're just going to plug our probes in. On the UPS here, it is sending out on the outlets in the back 125 volts. Now the difference here can be when the UPS loses power. So the only thing right now a UPS is doing is taking the power from the wall or the utility power. All it does is send it down and send out the same amount of power out the outlets. It's doing exactly what a regular PDU does. So let's pull the power on the UPS. All right, and this is where the UPS is quite a bit different. We're all under US power. So even though it's lost power, it's not putting out 125 volts anymore. It's putting out about 119 volts, which this is more accurate of what the kind of power you would want to see. A UPS does not regulate the power that it's sending out the outputs. Sending out the outlets in the back. It's acting just like a PDU until you lose power. So let's restore the power. And now the UPS is back up to putting out the power on the back, whatever the utility power is that's coming in. All right, so the PDU is just a glorified power strip. The voltage regulator, it actually does what it's supposed to be doing. It regulates the voltage output to be what the US standard is. Okay, and then for the UPS, it acts just like a PDU. The power comes in to it and then just takes the power and sends it out until you lose power. Then the UPS starts producing power that's more along the lines of what a voltage regulator would do. Sending out at, for this one, was sending out at 119 volts. So this just shows what the differences are between them. And we have a need for every single one of these in our system. All right, thanks for watching.